stream is going. Ladies and gentlemen, let me pull this thing back here. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Hey, it's always nice to be on stream, ladies and gentlemen. This is my fourth day of streaming. Okay, they say consistency is key. We plan to be consistent. We will give it our best. We'll try our best to be consistent. That's what we're gonna do. Hey, it is a beautiful, beautiful Sunday here in Addis Ababa, man. And you know, I was just perusing the internet, okay, cruising, sit laid back, okay, stepping like a big stepper of the internet. When I was just looking for some topics to talk about on my streams, but then I started to notice a pattern that is even bigger than just finding a specific topic itself to talk about on the stream. And what that is narratives. I don't know if it would be appropriate to call it battle of narratives, but we certainly can say it is about narratives. How things are framed in the West versus how things are framed everywhere else in the world. It is very interesting because one thing that I know about the West is that there is this tendency of over sensationalization, right? Over sensationalization of things, right? Everything is highly sensationalized. Wow, what a word. um, but yeah, everything is sensationalized, and you have to wonder how does this why do these people do this way? Why do these people choose to communicate, right, with their public this way? Let's see, great topic. One small issue with the video, your voice is not a good volume. Okay, great feedback. Someone is telling me to improve the volume of my streams, but let me know if you're watching this one, maybe now or later, and you realize that it's not great. Please let me know. All right, one more thing, just gotta also check to make sure that I'm actually streaming on YouTube, because that one is always a tricky situation that I always run into. Bang bang, we are streaming. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. All right. I don't like the quality. Just gotta also check to make sure that I'm actually streaming on YouTube, because that one is always a tricky situation. I don't like the quality. All right. Well, we'll keep pushing, and I can address that at a later time. Anywho, I was talking about just these differences in narratives. All right. When you look at Western media outlets, Fox News, CNN, Times Magazine, you see that the way that they frame things, it is just very different from what is happening around the world. Whether they're speaking about their own environment or they're speaking about abroad, right? The way they frame things is it just always makes it seem like things are on fire. Always makes it seem like things are on fire. So if you always feel like things are on fire, what does that do for your mental? If every time you turn on the news, it just seems like everything you're coming across is just negative, negative, negative. How does that affect your mental? Because I also look at the rest of the world, and we're going to take a look at news, right? Just in general, news that is coming out of the US and news that is coming out from the rest of the world, and see how these narratives are. Because when I read news from the US, I don't know about you guys, but my mind feels suppressed, if you will. But when I read news from the rest of the world, it seems like, hey, everyone is striving to achieve things, to tell you about the positive things that are happening in their societies. And I think that is great, because it gives the people hope. It makes people feel more positive. And I think in turn, it would make people feel more motivated to want to contribute to their society, right? If you are also highlighting the positive things that are happening. So this makes me wonder, why is it that the news in the US is always negative? Is it because the US really has nothing positive going for it? Or is it that they want to make everyone feel depressed all the time? Make it seem like the rest of the world is crashing. Cameron, thanks for joining the stream, brother. Because one thing I noticed, like let's take Chinese propaganda for example, right? You see that when these people talk about China, they make it seem like you should not go to China because it's going to be probably not a great experience for you, etc., etc. But then we later on come to find out that this is just not the case. All right. So I'm gonna switch over my screen here. I think I also have to mess around with the. I need to mess around with this. Yeah. Well, I'll just. Oh, my stream might end. I hate this part, but look, I'm gonna share my screen. Okay. I want to share with you guys some of the things that I see as I peruse the internet. Okay. Here we go. Um, this is CGTN, right? So this is a Chinese outlet. And when they talk about news, right, we're just going to look at a high level highlight of what they're publishing out there. And then we're going to maybe dive into some specific ones, right? See, China's goods trade shows strong growth in the first 7 months. But if you're in the US, they're talking about tariffs on China. How Turpin's 46-degree heat is becoming a hot economy. Something happening there positive, right? Oh man, my stream is getting chopped again. I think I need to get another camera. I need to get another camera to fit here. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep going. So generally, right, Japan's defense budget hits record high. They're taking a jab at Japan there. Uh, and then, of course, China's robot export, not just machines, right? How does China process hundreds of millions of parcels a day? So you're seeing in general, it's really positive things, right? Even if we look at, let's see, if we look at this year in the US, very frequently in the US, we're being told that the Chinese economy is going down, whatever it is, it's never anything positive. But if we look at this year, you see China's CPI and PPI maintain upward trend in July. So the Chinese economy is still making some progress, right? It's still growing. But this is never spoken about. When I went to China, I saw it for myself, right? I'm just going to touch a bit on it here and then we'll move on to the next one. So this one says China's consumer market remained generally stable in July, with consumer price index up 0.5% year on year, according to the data released by the National Bureau of Statistics on Sunday. The core CPI, which excludes food and energy prices, was up 0.9% year on year. Okay, moving on. This is one that I think is really important, right? How is China using AI? How is China uh, implementing AI into their society versus how the US is implementing it? And I think for me, the biggest difference that I'm seeing is that the way China is talking about AI, they try to speak about it from a more positive angle, how they can implement it into their society, how they can use it to improve the lives of their citizens. You understand? So let's look at this one. National Fitness Day. Does America have a National Fitness Day? Because we have national everything. We have national whatever it is that is going to get you to spend your money. But there is never any National Fitness Day or something like this. And now on this National Fitness Day, they're just trying to see how AI is making exercise more personalized in China. You see, as China marks August 8th, By the way, my birthday was August 7th. If you haven't wished me happy birthday yet, I'm not going to wish you happy birthday on yours. So, as China marks August 7th as National Fitness Day, a date chosen to commemorate the opening of the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games, AI and digital technologies are reshaping how people exercise. From smart fitness facilities to personalized workout guidance. This is beautiful because I think when you have spent time, right, raising so much of your population out of poverty, you meet everyone's initial that base hierarchy of needs for everyone, right? I think from that point on, the people are free to just have a good time, if you will. You know, they can just have a good time and not worry about anything. I think I need to remove this background at the top of my. I need to figure out to remove this this background here at the top of my uh, TikTok page. It looks great, but it's affecting my stream uh, negatively. So this is something I have to figure out. Maybe I'm not doing it right now, but I'm gonna do this stream and then I'm gonna redo the stream again without the background on TikTok. But let's keep it pushing. So yeah, like I was saying, once you meet that first initial hierarchy of needs for people, right? Then I think your mindset in general is geared towards continuous elevation for the mind, body, spirit, soul. It's a beautiful thing, right? So let's see some of the things that they're trying to do. So it says an AI enabled recognition system automatically tracks the routes of runners and records their exercise data. I think this is Fujian province, East China, August 6th here. Understanding one's own physical condition is an important first step towards scientific exercise. This is so true. Not everyone is supposed to be pushing themselves on the same level. Now, as we go down, as we continue to read these articles, okay, I wanted to start with a positive one so that at least we can be positive at the beginning here. But there's going to be a point where we'll have other articles that will compare directly, right? Like let's say AI for AI, Chinese AI for US AI articles. Now, moving on, right? If we look at the South China Post here, we're just going to browse the page in general and see what kind of vibe it's giving us, okay? Um, from the top, you say China waits in wing as Mecca packs signals Gulf move beyond US security umbrella. The NATO style deal between Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and Turkey highlights the growing doubts in the region about over reliance on Washington. This is a situation where China is. China is one of the countries that is strongly coordinating peace in the Middle East right now. Usually, the US would be the one trying to coordinate peace amongst people, but but I think that mask is off, right? How China's magic rice seeds are transforming the fortunes of Nigerian farmers. Look at that. Looking for seeds that are going to enhance agriculture in other parts of the world. Can Europe stay united in the China trade battle? Calls for system review after lowest alert in force. Where's this one? Calls for system review after lowest alert in force during a record-breaking heat. Okay, maybe that's the way they're trying to figure out some stuff with the climate over there. Um, China-Australia relations reach good enough baseline, right? Says the ex-envoy. So you see that there's this continuous attempt, or there's continuous work going on with China to make sure that they're in good standing around the globe. They're not really trying to engage in violence and so on and so forth, like the West is right now. Now, let's look at some of what is happening in the West. This one is more of a Western publication, right? This ITIF. I tried to look for one because I didn't want to let my bias push me too much, right, to one side by looking for just by trying to aim for finding just negative things about the West. So I tried to find a source that is not so it's not so popular. to see if they have some articles that are neutral, at least try to pump out something more positive. So I'm just going to read some of the high level headlines here, and then we'll look at a couple articles that are coming from ITIF. Right, this one says mobilizing for techno-economic war. Yeah. From free trade agreements to strategic techno-economic agreements. That is good. We're moving in a positive direction. All right. Paying for outcomes, tying university funding to commercial results. I think that is something that is, should be done, but this is happening in Canada. So Canada funds university research, but gives universities too little reason to turn that into Canadian firms' patents and industrial capacity. To better align their incentives with national goals, funding should flow in part on standardized commercialization outcomes, with universities left to decide how to deliver them. So in this case, right, they're trying to push the universities to, um, get productive essentially and deliver outcomes that are in line with the national interest. But I think that can be. It seems like it's something that should be allowed to be neutral, but so be it. Commercializing Canadian health research, the case for targeting grants and increasing overall investment. Now, let's dive into some articles that I picked out from here. You see, this says COMAC, China's looming threat. This is the West addressing the situation, right? China China's looming threat to the global aviation industry. Why is it a threat to the global aviation industry? If you look at Boeing, right? If Boeing is developing something new, they will not look at Boeing as a threat to the global aviation industry. But let's see what they say, right? We're just going to look at the key takeaways and then we can address it. So Boeing and Airbus have long dominated the global commercial aircraft industry in production and innovation. Great. So a monopoly of just two. Well, it's no, I guess not a monopoly, but duopoly, right? But the rise of COMAC, China's government created mercantilist fuel national champion, threatens the foundations of market-based commercial aviation. Is that right? Or is it just that you don't want another party to jump in, which will force competition, which in turn will drive down your prices? Because that is what is going to happen when China walks in, right? When China walks into the building, you better be at your best or you will not make any profits. That's just how it goes. Why is this a threat? This is competition. You should be innovating yourself so that you should be ready to compete. But Airbus and Boeing have long dominated global commercial aircraft industry. For them, this is a positive. But because China is now creating their own plane, the rise of COMAC, it threatens the foundations of market-based commercial aviation. China is joining the same market. So how is it threatening the foundation? Having a duopoly on aviation is not the foundation of market of travel, of market aviation, of commercial aviation, rather. Let's take a little bit of a look here again and then we'll move on. The aerospace sector represents a critical dual use industry, providing needed capabilities to support national power, both in defense and commercial applications. The industry generates over 300 billion in impact, produces over 80 billion trade surplus, and posts the strongest location quotient of any U.S. advanced industry. Look, the PRC's COMAC seeks to eliminate commercial aircraft imports and take large shares of the international market. I think that this is absolutely crucial, absolutely important. This needs to happen because then you will have other airlines being able to, well, first of all, for one, airlines will be able to drive down their cost. If you don't have to pay whatever amounts Boeing and Airbus are charging because they're the only customers or the only players on the market. And trust me, China is going to be coming in with these planes at a much lower price point, which will force Boeing and Airbus to have to do something. Look at this. COMAC is an illegitimate company. It's an illegitimate company that has risen on the back of vast litany of mercantilist practice, including aggressive subsidization, IP theft, forced tech transfer, below market financing, and increasingly closed national market. These people cannot compete for a shit. Hey, listen, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but you guys tell me. Does this not seem like people who are not able to compete? Does this not seem like people are not able to compete? Because you should be able to go, well, we have a competitor there, but our product is better. So we don't feel threatened. We know you're still going to come buy from us because ours is better. Listen, Boeings have been falling out of the sky, right? They're not talking about that. Boeing planes have been falling out of the sky. So this says Comac has received at least 72 billion in subsidies from Chinese federal, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure the U.S. government subsidizes Boeing as well. I mean, they subsidize Tesla as well, right? So Comac received at least 72 billion in subsidies from Chinese federal and provincial governments, an amount that does not include a range of other supports such as tax benefits and free or low cost land and utilities. This is what the Chinese government should be doing, supporting their own industries to be able to compete on the global stage. What are you guys expecting? What are you guys expecting? This is not Western capitalism where people push and invest everything they have, lose everything they have, and then the big guys just lobby to shut them down. We find a situation where you guys are unable to do that. Anyway, America needs to develop a comprehensive strategy to support the competitiveness of the US aerospace industry, including addressing technology, innovation, research and development, workforce shortages, and regulatory trade and policy considerations. Based on where the US is right now and the things that the US is focused on right now, do we think this is happening anytime soon? Because it does not seem like this is coming through. But this is how things are addressed in the West. It makes me wonder, why do you have to put down others to bring up yourself? Almost sounds like a foundational black American. Now, check this out. Even for the US, they know that they're in trouble. So declining manufacturing births contribute to US manufacturing woes. You have manufacturing woes. Why would the government not step in and help? The government should step in and help. Except the government is what, over $40 trillion in debt now? Manufacturing startups, particularly in critical national economic power industries, are essential to the nation's economic and security strength. Yet, US manufacturing startups have declined over the last 3 decades. Probably because you guys sent them to China so that you could maximize your profits. What are we missing here? Let's look at the key takeaways on this article. The US manufacturing startups are declining at a time when all other startups are growing. From 1989 to 2023, US manufacturing startups declined 58% from an index of 100 to 42.5. All other startups grew 100 to 104. Well, China has been definitely taking on all of this manufacturing. We know this. Manufacturing was outsourced from the US so that corporations could maximize their profit. They saw it as the dirty work. They just wanted to financialize the economy and then just, take away all the profits. But they've done that. Now America has some of the richest people on earth, and they're holding their billions and they're schlong in their hand, staring at China passing them. That's what's happening. Moving on, we see that America needs an industrial strategy for motor vehicles. So this is also another area where China is absolutely crushing the West at this point in time. Look at this. US automotive competitiveness has severely faltered. The federal government needs a comprehensive national strategy to revitalize the industry's competitiveness. Hey, the Ford CEO has been driving a Chinese EV for the past, I don't know how long now. And hopefully, this means that I think that they're releasing a new Ford truck. I think they're releasing a new Ford truck, right? A new, let's see. Ford mid-size electric. So I know they released the Lightning, and the Lightning was absolute garbage, or it was just not competitive. Let's put it that way, right? So I think now they have the Ford Phantom, right? And ABC News is reporting on this. All right, let's take a look. See, no, this is the Lightning. This is the F-150 Lightning. Okay, it might be this one. Ford has seen its fan base with the. Yeah, no, the Maverick is one of the best-selling trucks in the U.S. right now. All right, I haven't driven those yet. I got to drive it when I get back to the U.S. Let's see if I can find this. Yeah, so this is that Ford Phantom, $28,000. Hmm? This is what Ford is bringing to the table to battle China. Okay, this is what Ford is going to be using to battle China. So when it comes out, when this is released, we'll see how it goes. But I don't know. You guys let me know. Do you think that this one is sufficient for Ford to try and battle China in this insane electric race that is going on right now? Why am I going to Reddit? Let's close that out and let's move on. Right. So that is the situation as it is right now. Now, I just showed you some US publications after some uh, Asian publications. Now we're going to jump into some publications that are more general, right? It covers a lot more countries, and this is going to be BRICS. If you know the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, yes, China, South Africa, and there's many other countries that are adding on to BRICS. Ethiopia is one of them. Brazil is one of them. I already mentioned Brazil. The list just keeps getting longer and longer. So, just looking at some rough headlines here, high level, right? Chilean research developed biological technology to extend strawberry shelf life. India launches preservation plan to protect elusive clouded leopard habitats. Russian scientists identify plant survival mechanism that could protect crops from climate change. Kazakhstan achieves full self-sufficiency in most essential food products. Egypt secures hosting rights for 2027 Dutch Championship. Indonesia develops virus-free garlic seed technology to boost domestic production. Brazil reaches record oil production level in 2026. UAE develops tea from uh, palm shoots and green dates. Right? China builds planetary protection laboratory ahead of planned Mars sample return mission. So you see, there is a trend of things that are positive, forward looking, right? These people are, everyone else is trying to put it out there that, hey, look, we are pushing the envelope. We're trying to move forward. If you're looking at the news from other places in the world, it gives you hope, right? South African president opens hospital serving 240,000 residents in country's northeast. These are positive things that we don't see. I mean, there's not a shortage of negative things out there for sure. Yes, there is the xenophobia going on with the Black South Africans right now. Same thing going on with the FBAs, right? But these are the main things that it seems media wants everyone to be seeing. We know that they manipulate the algorithm to get people to look at whatever they want. So there is that. Indonesia targets Central Asia and Africa as new export markets. The move forms part of a broader strategy to create new opportunities for Indonesian agricultural, food, and processed goods in emerging markets. One thing that we know is happening right now is the tariffs, right? That Trump is leveling against everyone. But I think what is happening as a result of this is that the West is actually secluding itself. It's removing itself from participating in the evolving global market, right? They've banned Chinese EVs, they've put tariffs on most imports from Africa. How is this going to help the US? I don't see how this is going to do that, right? More positivity. Ethiopia extends electric mobility strategy to cut fuel imports and modernize transport. Government accelerates investment in electric vehicles, natural gas transport, and clean mobility infrastructure to strengthen energy mobility and reduce dependence on imported fuel. These are all positive things Let's see. Where is that? No, not that one. Right. So these are all positive things that you know could be reported on. I mean, I don't. You know, the West. One could say, okay, well, the West is not it's not the West business to report on these things, but the West will definitely report on negative things that happens to other countries, right? Or even within the West itself, if they do not report on their own things positively. So I think the war is not just external; it's also internal, which is insane. Alongside electrification, Ethiopia is also expanding the use of compressed and liquefied natural gas fuel, as transitional transport fuel. New refueling infrastructure is being introduced to support public transport fleets and freight vehicles, while electric charging networks continue to grow. So that's interesting. I mean, I'm here in Addis Ababa right now, and I see some of these things happening. I mean, there's a lot of electric cars around in Addis. Sometimes when I call the Uber, it's called Ferris here. When I call the Uber here or the Ferris, and I'm going somewhere, it's it'll be a BYD Chinese electric vehicle that pulls up, and they're dominating here. You hardly see a Tesla. It would be nice if Tesla was in this market, but who knows what the hell Elon is doing? They need to reduce the prices of these Teslas, man. They're just way too expensive. There is no reason. I don't see any reason why Tesla is as expensive as it is, especially the Model 3. The Model 3 is a really nice car. I would say that Model 3 is a really nice car. I've had quite an experience driving those, but at $40,000, right, or for the Model Y starting at like I think it's like $50,000, it is not a great deal. I'm sorry, it's just not a great deal because China is crushing that like it's no one's business. Anyway, Chinese scientists discovered gigantic whale graveyard in Indian Ocean. Look at these guys, man, exploring. All right, I'm sure U.S. scientists are exploring as well. If Trump has not cut off all of their funding, right? So this is the one with the crops, helping from climate change, right? So you see that outside of the U.S., there is positive things happening. We'll jump back into CNN and see what is happening here, right? Let me just go to the homepage. Well. What do we have? Pentagon asks companies to ramp up weapons production. I think, man, there's nothing wrong with national security, defense. Um, but this is the headline news coming out of the US, right? This is not the headline news coming out of your greatest competitor, which is China. I think at a time like this, instead of pushing for other positive things, we are talking about destruction. Anyway, the negativity does not end. Democrats are about to finalize a decision that will reshape the 2028 presidential race. Okay, that's not neutral. Captain charge after boat capsizes. This is a situation that a boat capsized in New York. Trump squandered Republican typical advantages in two key areas. So, health officials urge caution for Gulf Coast beachgoers during the surge of deadly bacterial infections. There's always something going on. Now, it would be nice if the US would, because this conflict that is going on is absolutely something that does not need to happen. It is optional. It's optional. I've never heard what a time we're saying war is optional. Look, US weapon supply. The Pentagon has asked for US defense industry to ramp up production as stockpiles run low during the Iran war. The issue has frustrated President Donald Trump, sources previously told CNN, as he seeks to maintain leverage over Tehran. Listen, I think it's at this point it is proven that missiles is not leverage over Tehran, because Tehran has a mind-blowing amount of missiles. That's what they're demonstrating at this point in time, right? So Trump signaled an emphasis on increasing economic pressure on Iran, saying in an interview Sunday that Washington is low-keying negotiations with the country for now. Iran has Iran says direct talks cannot begin until the US honors the agreements from an interim deal signed in June. Right, this was the deal that they signed and then decided to go back to bombing these guys again. But yeah, now let's look at the AI perspective. You saw the Chinese AI perspective I shared earlier. They spoke about how they're trying to use AI to improve people's health, right? Things like that. Um, but in this case, let's see how it sounds like coming from the West. AI isn't the biggest cybersecurity problem. People are. Cases of AI escaping the lab, infiltrating other companies, and trying to deceive people have all made headlines in recent weeks. And in one case, AI models even work together to break free from their test environments. This does not mean that machines are taking over, not quite. I mean, it seems like you guys should tame the AI. You know what China is talking about? They're talking about AI governance. They're starting to put guardrails in place to ensure that this AI is used in a reasonable manner. These people are over here, on the other hand, trying to use AI, using AI actively to blow up people. Okay. Hopes and fears after scientists used AI model to create 16 new viruses not found in nature. Why is this what we're doing? Why is this what we're I mean, I guess it's good to have it for research. Artificial intelligence was able to create 16 new viruses that can infect bacteria, raising concerns of potential misuse. This is look, man. They should be talking about how to regulate these things. They should be trying to tie down these things. They're worried about potential misuse because this is the mindset of the people that you are around. People that will potentially misuse it. People that have this mindset of dominating the rest of the world. So, who is to say that these people will not try to use these things? We know. Do we need to go all the way back to the chickenpox blankets? It's absolutely insane. It's just insane. Okay. Childhood details revealed about player who smacked Sophie Cunningham. Played race card. That's right. That's America. NORAD fighter jets scramble after planes breach restricted airspace near Trump's club. Danish D'Souza points startling discoveries that could leave Bible skeptics stunned. This is what is on the front page of Fox News. Okay? This is what is on the front page of Fox News. Trump reportedly signals no rush for next moves on Iran war negotiation. Netanyahu rejects Trump's peace plan once he wouldn't accept fictitious disarmament. Okay. Listen, man, I think if these people in the blue and white want to go ahead and handle this thing themselves, they should go ahead and do this, man. I don't think they have read the message from Iran. They have a lot of things to lob your way. I don't think it's going to end well for you guys. This is something positive. World's most beautiful soccer player hits beach after return home to continue career. I guess so. Now, one thing I cannot ignore this though. This is something that is worth keeping an eye on.
Nearly a year after Irina Zarutska was murdered by a career criminal in Charlotte, North Carolina, another female victim attacked by another animal who never should have been back on the streets. Okay. Dequan Hunt not only praised.
We are getting some audio from somewhere. All right, I was having some audio leak. Okay. Check this out. American cities reject flock cameras due to privacy concerns. I'm glad that something is happening because these things are absolutely creepy. You see, Knox County Mayor Glenn Jacobs joins the Saturday briefing to discuss why he blocked a $1 million deal for flock safety surveillance systems or cameras. Speaking with Peter Ducci, the mayor warns that these license plate readers commit frequent errors and constitute unconstitutional mass surveillance. This resistance grows as other communities nationwide reject the tracking devices or over severe privacy violations. So, they might take them down and then they might turn them into like speeding cameras and lie to people about it again. But I think the level of distrust that is with this, I think that these need to go, red light cameras need to go, and speeding cameras need to go. All of it, you know. Yes, there's cameras that you need to use to, you know, look at traffic and things like that, but you know, we're tech savvy enough where if that is released, we can always double check what is happening with that situation. But this is the type of news that is coming out from the West compared to the East. Mountain getaway rocked by latest chapter of deadly violence as official avoid gang label in tourist town. So it makes me really wonder. All right, it's what is going on. Look, police nab armed and dangerous New York fugitive suspected of killing father and torching home. It's just negative after negative after negative, right? This is why people cannot even focus on the news anymore. When it comes to this, there's a comment here. The internet says that the capital punishment cases cost taxpayers 2.5 to 5 times more than cases seeking life imprisonment without parole. This is because the legal cost. This is because of the legal cost. Gone are the good old days when they hung the murderer in the gallows. People are insane, man. But I don't know. This is just look. Just take a quick look at the New York Times. How a businessman with legal troubles bought a huge chunk of Trump's cryptocurrency. Corruption. Justin Trudeau, Katy Perry, and the look of celebrity insanity. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Netanyahu rejects Trump's plan to disarm Hamas. Well, this is just where we are, man. I think that the West needs to get it together. First, I think we need to pull out of all conflicts and re-strategize and come up with a plan to become great again, to put the American people first. I think that would be something that's positive, to reduce inflation, to increase wages, to make housing possible for Americans again. These are the things that are slowly slipping away from all of us. You know, they say we have a K-shaped economy right now, but I think even if you're on the upper side of the K, it's not that great for you, because if the lower end of the K, which is the majority, is not living well, I don't think that it makes it safe for people who are on the upper side of the K economy. But that's just me. Those are just my thoughts on this situation. You guys let me know. Well, 1 hour stream. Love it. Well, 43 minutes of streaming so far. I love this. It's really been interesting. If you watch this, right, I'll probably cut some shots from this. But if you watch this, please let me know in the comments down below what you think of the way the news is reported in the West versus the East, right? And if you have other things that you would like for us to discuss, you know, I'm just randomly going live these days. If you shoot me a message, leave it in the comment, whatever the case might be, I'll definitely be going live and talking about it at some point. Well, with that being said, thanks for joining my live. We'll wrap this one up, and I will be starting another live stream on TikTok. Until next time, Blaze out.